Hello, and thanks for tuning in today for this episode on the 5 must-have kitchen knives for the home cook. My name is Chef Colin Roche, and today with you, I'm going to share with you how to choose the right knives for your kitchen. So let's get started. Not all kitchen knives are equal, and just like any other tool, you want to pick the right one for the job at hand. And here in front of me are the 5 basic knives that I would recommend at minimum that you have in your kitchen. And they're listed by how important I think they are, at least in my kitchen. So let's go through those. First and foremost is the chef's knife, also called the French knife. It is the workhorse of the kitchen. It's used for chopping, cutting, slicing, dicing. If I had to pick just one knife, this would be it. This, again, is where you're going to get all your production from. Now, there's different sizes and different types, and we'll talk about those in a minute. The next important one is to have some type of paring knife, which is a small 3-4 inch. They come in different sizes, the blades here, that is used for paring, peeling, cutting, maybe apples and potatoes and stuff. So have a paring knife. Next, I would have what they call a utility knife. Could also be a boning knife or a fillet knife. There's different ones of these. And it's a small knife and it's used for a lot of different things. You can get them in different styles, and we'll go through those. Could be like a boning knife, which is a very stiff blade, or a fillet knife, which is, if you're going to be doing a lot with filleting fish, it's a little bit more flexible to get the skin off and get the fillet from the bones. The other one is some type of serrated knife, or also called a bread knife. You can see these little teeth on it. This is excellent for getting through bread, whereas, if you had a French knife, it would crush down through that fresh baked bread. It's also good for cutting fruit, tomatoes, doing some slicing in that, cakes. So get some type of serrated knife. And lastly, you're going to want to have a slicer. Okay, slicer that again come in different lengths, different sizes. This is great for roasts when you want to get a nice even thin slice, maybe for some roast beef or from a turkey breast. So you want to have some type of slice. Of course, there are numerous other knives out there that you can purchase for specialty jobs, such as like a cleaver. If you're going to be doing a lot with bones, having to crush through those, very heavy, got a thick blade on it. Or you can get a Chinese cleaver if you wanted, scimitars, tournay knives, lots of them out there. But again, only get them if you need them. These 5 will get you through most tasks, most jobs. So let's go through the parts of a knife. So you'll see here, this is the blade of the knife, and it has the, the point right up here, and this would be considered the tip of the knife, this part of the knife. Then we got the back of the knife. We've got the blade of the knife. This is the flat of the knife. This is where you'd smash garlic. The back of the knife, maybe if you're cracking, like a lobster claw. The tip is for, fine chopping. The heel of the knife down here is a little bit more thicker, a little bit more stronger. So if you had to go through like carrots and stuff, would be down in this part. Then you also have the handle. Now the handle usually has rivets in it that attaches to it. And a couple of the parts you may not know about, this metal collar here is called a bolster. This is very important. This is an indicator of a pretty good quality knife. And then you also have the tang. Now the tang is this metal part that goes up through the handle of the knife. Cheaper knives won't have that, or they'll just have like a screw that goes up into here. They call it a rat tail tang, which may be, just a little stick that goes up in there. But a good quality knife will have it, as you can see, goes through the whole handle. You also want to get a forged knife if you can, rather than a stamped one. Forged one is going to have a better blade. It's going to have, better for sharpening. It's going to be a better quality knife, which has been forged out of one piece of metal, as opposed to being stamped or cut out of a sheet metal and then put a handle on it. So you can see, here are different sizes of these French knives. This one has a tang. You can see on both sides of the handle, whereas this one doesn't. So this is going to be a lot thinner. Again, it's a smaller knife. It doesn't have the bolster here, going into the handle. So you can see there's different styles. And again, chef's knife, French knife here, good bolster all the way through. And then you have the long one here, like using this for lobster bodies and stuff. You can see this tang doesn't go through the handle all the way. So, and it doesn't have a bolster. It's going to be a little bit cheaper of a knife here. These handles they come in could be wood. They also come in, composite or resin, a plastic, really hard in here. And it's good to make sure these seams are all sealed so you don't get food in there. And this one could be open a little bit more, especially if it wasn't handled properly. That wood would start to separate in there, and that's where food or bacteria could grow. So, these bolsters help protect that. Okay, and they also have down here where the blade is, they have a bevel. And that's usually 20 degrees, and that's where it forms into a blade, for the cutting. And in another video, I'll show you how to sharpen, and we're going to get that 20 degrees to make sure that is sharp in there. So see, it's much fatter up here, and then it bevels down into a point. And that's, again, about 20 degrees in there. Now, the blades on these knives can be made from different materials. There is some that are ceramic. You can get carbon steel, you can get stainless steel, or you could get carbon, based stainless steel knives. So there's different materials, and then they all have their pros and cons. Ceramic knives, maybe you've seen those out there. Those are the best for sharpening. I mean, you can really hone them into like a scalpel consistency. So they're great for that. The cons about them is that they're fragile. They're ceramic, so they can break. They also are very expensive compared to other knives. So, take that into consideration. Then if you get into stainless steel, I don't have any here, but all stainless, that's good because it won't rust. Bad because it's hard to sharpen. It's hard to get an edge on it, and it's hard to keep an edge. So stainless, usually you'll find those in the cheaper knives, like the Cutcos and things like that, where it doesn't need sharpening. They're all stainless. It's really because they can't be sharpened unless you're using a machine with those. Then you have the carbon, which I like, and a lot of old-time chefs really like the carbon ones because they're easy to sharpen. They can get an edge on them. Cons with those is they can rust. They can get pitted in them. They can pick up a little patine color into them, especially if you're using an acid type food, if you're working with tomatoes and stuff. So they take a lot of cleaning on. So what most chefs today use in the commercial kitchen is a high carbon stainless steel. It takes the best of both of those knives, which is what most of these ones are here. They'll have stainless on the outside, but they have carbon inside, a hardened carbon that's used together in those. So that's what you'll see, and that's a good indicator of a quality knife. Now, knives are going to last you a lifetime. I mean, they don't really go bad if they're taken care of. So when buying knives, I suggest you try them out because all of the handles are different. So you can see, for instance, the paring knives. Again, it has the bolster on it, has the tang that goes all the way through. This may be, $30, $40. Where you can get these great ones, Victorinox, which I like these. They have a plastic handle. The tang, doesn't go all the way through. You can hear it in there. It's kind of hollow, but, you're going to spend $10 for them. So paring knives get lost a lot, so this would be perfectly okay for that. But, you could pay a little bit more for those. So think about how much money you have to spend, and obviously spend as much as you can to get the quality, but within reason. When you get into these boning knives, utility knives, this one has a wooden handle. It doesn't have the tang that goes all the way through in it. But this is good if I want to bone out a leg of lamb, if I want to do some general cutting on that. This one's a little bit more curved, so it's easier to manipulate doing some jobs. This one's a little bit longer, a little bit more flexible blade. So this would be good for filleting fish. This one's very stiff, so I like this one as more of a boning knife. Okay, when you get into your serrated ones, I love this one. It has a little bit of a point to it, kind of like the French knife. So as I mentioned, great for bread, cakes, as well as fruit and tomatoes. But I use this also for portioning. I'll get a steak or chicken breast, slice it on the bias. This serrated is great for that if I want to portion or maybe fan out the chicken breast. But you can get the traditional straight ones as well. Again, different handles. This one has a bolster on it, but no rivets. plastic, composite handle. This one has wood. So you're going to get a different price range in there. And again, with my slicers, this one's a little bit longer. So this one you can see here has the wooden handle, has the tang, doesn't go all the way through in it, also doesn't have a bolster on it, but it is a wood handle. This one, again, more plastic carbon on there, composite, handle on them. But you want to feel them, especially when you get into your French knives. You're going to be using these. So you want it to be comfortable in your hand. So this one has a little bit of a, curve to it. Well, this one is very straight. This one's not going to be as comfortable if you're using this a lot for chopping. The other thing you want to look at is balance. Balance on the knife. And that's where it's evenly distributed. So a way to do that is to just hold your finger out. I don't know if you can see that. Right here where the bolster is, and see if it's balanced. See the front part, kind of keep it near the board in case it slips off your finger, and that's balanced. So if you're doing this all day long, you can get that rocking motion. It's going to be less pressure and stress on your arm. So you want to get a balanced knife, but you want it to feel good in your hand. So check that out as well. Now, as far as purchasing them, look on the internet. You can find some pretty good prices there, but again, problem with the internet is you don't get to try them out. But if you went to a store, found one you like, then found it on the internet, go ahead and purchase it. Another trick is to go to the restaurant supply stores in your area. Go find one. There you're not going to be paying the retail prices, that you'll be paying at, at the mall or something. Go to the restaurant supply store. They're going to give you a better deal, and they're going to have a variety of knives at all different price points. And there'll be someone there, expertise that can help you and with picking out the knife that works best for you. Okay. Now sometimes you can buy a package of knives. It comes in a block, which is okay if those are all the knives you want. But oftentimes it's better to buy them individually. Maybe you want to spend a little bit more for your French knife, chef's knife, a little cheaper for your paring knife, so you can mix and match. Or you can get like a package like this one here. This is a stainless, all stainless, very inexpensive. Probably not good quality in there, but you can get those, and a lot of times they'll come with a butcher block. Use those if you want. But I would recommend you spend a little bit more, and maybe you don't need all those knives. Just pick out the ones that you do want. The other thing is you want to maintain these knives, wash them, take care of them. And you're also going to want to sharpen them. So two other things is to get a steel with those. There are different sizes on those, as well as a sharpening stone. Now please check out my other video on how to sharpen your knives and maintain them that I've posted to the channel. And the topic of this video came from a subscriber just like you. So please, if you have a topic or a subject that you want to see for future videos, please leave it in the comments section below or send me an email. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.